What I want to talk about today is the value of emptiness. I've got my gadgets here so I can read a few quotes. The first one that I thought was interesting is from this book called A Course in Miracles, and it says, "Many stand guard over their ideas because they want to protect their thought systems as they are, and learning means change. Change is always fearful to the separated, because they cannot conceive of it as a move towards healing the separation." And what struck me as kind of interesting about this one is that I think a lot of people believe that they are not opposed to change or not afraid of change, but the reality of it is most people are, I would say. I mean, there's certain things that people aren't afraid of, but think of it in this manner. If someone comes up to you and starts to express a view that's different from your political views or different from your religious views or whatever the case may be, some of the strongly held beliefs that we have, most of the time people's first tendency is to get defensive. And it may not be that you're outwardly defensive, because some people will say, well, hey, I just don't get into those discussions. But internally, at least, if not externally, you're probably standing there thinking of all the reasons why what you believe is correct and why what they believe is wrong. Most people don't just listen and see what they can learn from the other person. So anyway, that's what kind of struck me about the first one, that first quote. But anyway, the next thing was a verse from an ancient writing from Lao Tzu called the Tao Te Ching, and this one is the 11th verse. So it says, 30 spokes converge upon a single hub. It is the hole in the center that the use of the cart hinges. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Carve fine doors and windows, but the room is useful in its emptiness. The usefulness of what is depends on what is not. So anyway, as far as emptiness goes, I think people tend to get so filled up with their belief systems and whatever it is that they're pursuing in life, or filled up with their past story of who they are, that they have no room left to grow or move beyond any of those things or learn or anything like that. So I guess something that I've been learning a lot more recently is that if you can open up a little bit, there is a lot you can learn from things that you may have before considered threatening to your beliefs or whatever the case may be. And it starts to bring a sense of peace when you don't necessarily feel like you're under attack and have to be defensive. And I think the emptiness is what plays a key role in that. And a good example from a video that Kyle Cease made, I think it was from one of his Evolving Out Loud presentations, he was talking about how people can hit rock bottom, and that's when they just decide to make these huge changes in their life. But the irony of it is, we see someone that's kind of headed downhill and we try to stop them from hitting rock bottom, when in reality that's what they need in order to make the change. But regardless of that aspect of it, if you think about it, when someone hits rock bottom, there's this huge sense of emptiness in their life, and it's when they finally decide that whatever they're holding on to, whether it's their past, whether it's say a job that they hate or anything that they're dealing with in their life that they need to let go of, and they finally hit this point where they open up and see that they need to do something, it's that point of emptiness that makes them finally able to change and move on for the better. And so I guess just between those couple things, it's something to consider when you go through your daily life, to consider how resistant you are to change, and just at least trying to have an emptiness to where you're not so full that you can't be filled up, and learn from some other things. So try to keep these short and sweet, so I'll leave it at that for today.